Dyslexia: the story of a child, who today as an adult, after facing many challenges in his life path, wants to transmit his experience of overcoming life. Sunrise Creative Hub Sunrise Foundation Educational Program Index 01 Sunrise, Winds of Change 02 Mirrors, what do you remember from your childhood? 03 A New Dawn 04 Didactic Resources. The editing and design of the book Sunrise were carried out by Emmanuel Irisa and Alexandra Robita. All copyright and intellectual property rights for this book belong to the Sunrise Creative Hub. The Sunrise Creative Hub, as the copyright holder, is responsible for protecting and managing the rights for reproduction, distribution, and use of the work. November 2023. We dedicate this book to God Almighty for knowledge and inspiration. I want to say thank you, Lord, my loving adorable mom MRSVA Wamade Irisa. I'm always grateful to God for you being a pillar to me, to Alexandra Rovita for standing by me. Thank you. Sunrise Creative Hub is a foundation driven by the passion and collaboration of two creative minds. We are dedicated to content creation, communication, art, design, and editing. Our passion and commitment to excellence drives us to explore new ideas and challenge the limits of creativity. We work closely together, combining our unique skills and talents to deliver amazing results. From the design of educational, reflective, and inspirational materials to the production of videos, we seek to create impactful and meaningful content that connects with audiences in an authentic way. Through our foundation, we aspire to inspire other creators and bring a fresh and original perspective to the world of art and communication. Join us on our exciting creative journey at Sunrise Creative Hub. Preface: in the dawn of my world, life is a constant dawn, a succession of lights and shadows that paint the path we all walk. But there are times when darkness seems to embrace us with greater force, when the sun's rays hide behind dense clouds and we find ourselves lost in a maze of challenges. That's how my story began, a tale of personal triumph and perseverance, told through the voice of a boy named Sunrise. Sunrise, a name that evokes the awakening of a new day, a symbol of hope and rebirth. And indeed, his life was a constant rebirth, for from an early age, he faced a challenge that would accompany him every step of his existence: dyslexia. A learning disorder that made reading, writing, and verbal expression difficult for him. But despite the obstacles that stood before him, Sunrise refused to give up. This book is an intimate and personal testimony of Sunrise's experiences, told in the first person to immerse us in his inner world. Through its pages, we will discover the challenges he faced in school, moments of frustration, and the feeling of being different from others. But we will also witness his courage, determination, and ability to find light in the darkness. As we delve into the story of personal growth, Sunrise will teach us that difficulties do not define our worth as human beings, but rather serve as opportunities to grow and discover our deepest strengths. We will learn alongside him the strategies he developed to overcome obstacles, the importance of his family's support, and the value of empathy from those around him. This book is a celebration of diversity and inclusion, a reminder that each of us carries a unique radiance within, even when our shadows seem to take hold of us. Through Sunrise's voice, we are invited to look beyond labels and find beauty in our differences. We hope that as you embark on these pages, you find inspiration and strength. May you discover that personal triumph is not just a destination, but a journey filled with learning and growth. May there always be a spark of hope capable of illuminating our path in each dawn, even the darkest ones. Welcome to Sunrise's story, a boy whose dyslexia was not a limitation but an opportunity to shine. Chapter 01 Sunrise Winds of Change. One day God whispered, "The one who surrenders to the whole allows the personal history to pass its way, to develop." Many times life makes us walk through experiences that at the time we cannot understand, some beautiful and others perhaps not so much, but all of them invite us to learn, for our growth and evolution. Sorrows and sadness fade away, with openness and surrender to life. Sometimes we question why me, or what happens that I cannot, why I feel different from others. But in spite of that, one takes the courage to go ahead, to keep on walking the road without knowing what surprises are in store for you as you venture into life. Sunrise is the story of a child, who today as an adult, after facing many challenges in his life path, wants to transmit his experience of overcoming life. He wants to tell us from the perspective of a child his experience of having gone through a learning disorder, such as dyslexia, without having been detected in time. More and more children reach school age needing special attention in order to develop their abilities and acquire knowledge and skills. Early detection of possible learning difficulties helps to improve academic skills and reduce the emotional impact of these situations. Sunrise wants to be part of and give voice to the world for all those children who need a different answer. To reach out to all those adults involved in the education, upbringing, and development of the child, inviting them to join forces to provide children with the necessary support they need to overcome their difficulties. It is important that parents, educators, teachers, and professors pay attention to the learning development of each child. Sometimes we find adults who do not understand and do not adapt to the particular needs of each child, and they are left without the emotional and pedagogical support to continue developing their potential. They are left alone without finding an answer to what is happening to them. Dyslexia is a learning disorder that involves difficulty reading due to problems identifying speech sounds and learning how they relate to letters and words. It is not related to general intelligence. While it is defined by deficits in written language, there are current studies that have focused on the strengths and potentialities in people with dyslexia. Dyslexia is so common that some experts are beginning to see it as a variant or characteristic of the person, rather than a disorder, although even today, in the most generalized opinion, it is considered a specific learning difficulty. Chapter 02 mirrors what do you remember from your childhood? Close your eyes for a few seconds, take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, how did you feel as a child? Do any memories come to mind? Do you find it easy or difficult to remember your childhood? Some people do not remember their childhood, either because a long time has passed, or because it involved unpleasant experiences. Some simply prefer to express the belief that childhood was the happiest time of their lives. This belief is held by many because of the simple fact that being a child is being happy. Generally, we try not to remember or to invalidate those feelings wrongly called negative, which are also part of our emotional world in childhood. Tensions, pains, fears, and even suffering if it occurs over time. The belief that children are happy or that they should be happy just because they are children, sometimes prevents us from seeing and understanding their emotional world in its totality. It disconnects us from being present to look at them and connect with their real needs. It prevents us from questioning whether our actions are in line and relevant to the child's real needs. We tend to generalize, and we believe that all children are the same, forgetting that each one has its own rhythm, time, and feelings. As adults, we have put to sleep in our memory many memories. Perhaps in some moments we felt impotence, when we wanted something to come out and it did not happen, no matter how much effort we put into it. We could forget punishments or indifferent attitudes of adults who shared with us, many of them justified in a good education. These experiences generally remain impregnated in our emotional, mental, and physical body, shaping our perception of ourselves as well as our character. Not remembering does not suppress the lived experience. The first years of our childhood, there are even theories that state that what happens a year before our gestation until our 6 or 7 years of age are constitutive elements that determine our personality. Generally, when some difficulty appears in our childhood, such as dyslexia, our emotional world is transformed into a whirlwind of emotions that, depending on the age, it is confusing to understand. Sunrise remembers in his own voice, I was in first grade and I remember that I felt so pressured and forced by adults to excel intellectually that I dedicated hours and hours to my homework, but I couldn't understand. I got very tired, I lost hours of playing with friends and that happy childhood that everyone thought was fading away. Not being able to understand why I had so much difficulty learning at school and not in other areas of my life did not make me feel very good about myself. At times I felt that there was something wrong with me, or sometimes I thought I would never succeed. Some teachers even accused me of not trying hard enough to learn. But I wondered why, if I was good at other things like running, I was so fast that no one could catch me. I remember the morning clearly. The teacher had written a sentence on the board in big white letters. She asked each of us, one by one, to stand up and read it aloud. My stomach tightened the moment she pointed to the first child. I counted the desks. 7, 6, 5. Each classmate read the sentence smoothly, easily, as if the letters were old friends. To me, they looked like they were moving. When my turn came, I stood up slowly. I stared at the board. The letters twisted and overlapped. I opened my mouth, but the words would not come. Behind me, someone giggled. The teacher tapped her pen on the desk and said, softly but firmly, "Try again, sunrise." I tried. But I could not make the letters stay still long enough to read them. I sat back down and looked at my hands. I did not feel stupid, I just felt invisible. As if the classroom had been built for everyone except me. That night, I asked my mother if she thought I was slow. She held my face in both her hands and said, "You are not slow. You just see the world differently. And one day, that will be your greatest gift." I did not understand her then. But I never forgot those words. My teacher was not a cruel woman. She was tired. She had more than 30 children in her classroom and a curriculum that moved like a train with no brakes. She believed that effort produced results, that if a child tried hard enough, the results would come. She did not yet know about dyslexia. When I stared at the board, she saw a distracted child. When I stumbled over words, she heard carelessness. She circled my mistakes in red ink with the intention of being helpful, not knowing that each red mark landed on my chest like a stone. Years later, when I returned to my hometown as an adult and visited the school, she was still teaching. I went to find her. She was older now, quieter. I told her my story. She was silent for a long time. Then she said, "I am sorry, Sunrise. I did not know how to see you then. I wish I had." That was enough. There was one place where I was never behind, the track. Every Thursday afternoon, our class went to the schoolyard for physical education. And on the track, something changed inside me. The moment my feet hit the dirt and the teacher blew the whistle, everything else disappeared: the board, the letters, the laughter, the confusion. There was only speed. I ran like the wind had always been waiting for me. No one could catch me. My PE teacher put his hand on my shoulder one day after a race and said, "You have something special, Sunrise." I remember looking up at him, surprised. No one at school had ever said that to me before. I held on to that feeling. On the hardest days, the days when the letters seemed to mock me, I would close my eyes and remember the track. And I would tell myself, if I can run, I can do anything. My PE teacher had a gift that had nothing to do with the curriculum. He could look at a child and see what was real. Not the grades, not the behavior, but the person underneath. He noticed how my whole body changed when I ran, how the uncertainty in my eyes disappeared and was replaced by something bright and certain. One afternoon he pulled me aside and said, "Do you know what I see when I watch you run? I see someone who knows exactly who he is. You need to bring that person into the classroom too." I did not understand it yet. But that conversation planted a seed. He was the first adult who did not try to fix me. He only tried to remind me of what was already there. When adults forget about their own childhood or are unaware of the responsibility we have towards children, we neglect the ability to listen and empathize with them. Much of our work with dyslexic children is to help them rediscover that they are intelligent and capable. Because of the demands of us adults and giving value to only one way of learning, we run the risk that they stop believing in themselves and that many of their actions are to please others, and not for the pleasure of learning itself. Experiencing continuous frustrations in the school environment alters their affective and psychic lives, which gradually form the basis of their self-esteem. This feeling of failure is received directly or indirectly, passively or actively, through verbal messages and negative evaluations of the school environment grades, for example in the social and family spheres. That is to say, in all the spaces where the child is immersed, they receive a conditioning message, configuring an erroneous idea of themselves, often feeling incapable and insecure to overcome the obstacles that are presented in their daily life, not being able, in spite of their efforts, to advance. Children need to know that, despite all the difficulties in life, they can achieve what they want. It is very important to help them manage the emotions generated by not understanding something, not being able to sustain their concentration for a time, or taking more time to solve problems. One evening, my mother found me sitting at the kitchen table with my homework spread in front of me, untouched. I had been staring at it for an hour. She sat down beside me without saying anything for a while. Then she asked, "What do you see when you look at the page?" I told her the truth for the first time. "The letters move, Mom. They switch places. Sometimes I read a word and then when I look again it says something completely different." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I think we need to find you some help. Not because something is wrong with you but because you deserve to be understood." Those words changed something in me. For the first time, my struggle had a path forward. I was not careless. I was not lazy. I was a child who needed a different kind of door and my mother was going to help me find it. She worked long days and came home tired. But she never came home too tired for me. Every evening, she sat at the kitchen table with me, not to do my homework for me, but to be present while I did it. She did not always have the right words. Some nights she simply put her hand on my back and said nothing. But her presence said everything. "You are not alone in this." When the diagnosis came, she did not cry in front of me. She cried later, in private, not out of grief, but out of relief. Finally, there was a name for what her son had been carrying. And with a name came a path. She found the specialists. She asked the questions the teachers did not ask. She fought, quietly but firmly, for every accommodation, every adapted resource, every extra minute on a test. She never asked me to be normal. She only asked me to keep going. And so I did. If children know how to regulate and know their way of learning, it will be favorable since it will imply an active and constructive process, teaching them to learn all the strategies and those that they elaborate by themselves will be considered valid, understanding, and promoting that there is not only one way to do things or to solve situations. Thus, although the educational system forces them to reach a certain result by a certain way, what they have to understand is that experimentation is an indispensable requirement for learning. The objective is that all children, parents, teachers, and professors understand that although we have to teach children to follow and know academic rules, they can also paint, write, act, observe, speak. Every path of self-regulation generates confidence, and this is always accompanied by perseverance. Getting children to learn to love themselves is one of the important pillars for life, the basis of good self-esteem, to be able to accept and love themselves as they are. On many occasions, parents and society unconsciously want their children to be great professionals, perhaps a world-famous athlete, an Olympic medalist or a renowned doctor, for example. However, in this way they only make them feel loved for their achievements and not for who they are in essence. When our value depends on results in any area of life, you begin to feel that you are never enough. People with an evolutionary mindset and conscious parenting understand that every experience, every possible mistake is a great learning opportunity for future experiences. Dialogue and empathic family guidance on this concept will contribute positively to the child's growth. This exercise helped me a lot. Now I invite you again to close your eyes, to take 3 deep breaths. and invite yourself to connect or visualize with your child, with your student, or with that child with whom you have contact, and even with your inner child. Let yourself feel as a mother, father, teacher that child. What emotions does it evoke in you? Connect with them. Now extend your hands and try to hold them in your arms. Observe what you feel in that instant, that you are at their height, that you can observe each other with your eyes. Can you see how small they are? Do you remember that you were small with them? Now you are at the same height, and now you observe the adult world, immense and sometimes incomprehensible. At that moment they need to trust and feel supported and understood. At that moment they needed the adult's look from a place of empathy. When we speak from above, words become distant, cold and incomprehensible. On the other hand, when we come down to the child's level to be able to speak, to accompany, to support, our gaze crosses theirs and our heart is closer to theirs. From this place of connection with the child, they will be more receptive to our messages, ready to listen, and we will be able to understand through their eyes what is happening to them, what they feel and what they need from us adults. Sunrise's diary. These are the pages I wish someone had asked to read. Diary entry 1, age 7. Monday. Today at school we had to read from a book. Everyone finished their page. I only got halfway. The teacher told me to practice more at home. I do practice. I practice every night. I just don't understand why the letters don't do what I tell them to do. Maybe tomorrow will be different. Diary entry 2, age 8. Thursday we ran races today. I won again. Mr. Danta said I was the fastest in the whole school. When I was running I did not think about reading or letters or any of that. I only thought about the wind. I wish school could always feel like running. Diary entry 3, age 9. Friday Mom took me to see a special teacher today. She said I have something called dyslexia. She said it means my brain reads in a different way. She said it is not bad, it is just different. I asked if it would ever go away. She said no, but that I would learn how to work with it. I think I like that better than pretending it isn't there. Diary entry 4, age 10. Wednesday my new teacher lets me use different materials. I can draw pictures to explain things. Today I drew a whole story instead of writing it. She said it was the best story in the class. I felt something in my chest when she said that. Like a door opening. Chapter 03. A new dawn. The sun rises majestically on the horizon, painting the sky with warm and golden hues. For me, this sunrise symbolizes much more than the beginning of a new day. It represents the epilogue of a story of struggle, perseverance, and self-discovery. My journey with dyslexia has not been easy. Challenges have presented themselves at every step, from difficulties in reading and writing to the lack of understanding from those who did not grasp my struggle. But as time has passed, I have learned that my dyslexia does not define me, it is only a part of who I am. Throughout the years, I have confronted my insecurities, overcome obstacles, and found support in friends and family who have always stood by my side. I have learned to embrace my dyslexia as a strength rather than a weakness. I discovered my passion for communication and creativity, and found ways to express myself that transcend the limitations of words on a page. Today, as I look back on my journey, I see a horizon filled with achievements that once seemed unattainable. But the real victory was in discovering that true personal growth comes from self-acceptance and leveraging our differences as strengths. All of this journey has led me to a new chapter in my life, the creation of the Sunrise Foundation. This foundation has become a beacon of hope for those who, like me, face similar challenges. It is a place where dreams can become a reality, where dyslexia is not an obstacle but an opportunity to excel in fields such as communication and art. The Sunrise Foundation not only provides educational support but also encourages self-acceptance and self-confidence. We aim to show that differences are not weaknesses but unique qualities that enrich the world. So, as the sun ascends in the sky, I feel that my own sunrise has arrived. My story with dyslexia has become a lesson in strength, resilience, and the human capacity to overcome adversity. The message I want to leave is that we all have our internal battles, our own challenges. But no matter how insurmountable they may seem, we can always find the strength to overcome them. The sunrise reminds us that each day is an opportunity to grow, learn, and move towards a brighter future. If you are struggling with your own adversities, remember that each sunrise is a new opportunity to write your story of personal growth. And if you have the chance, reach out to help others find their own sunrise, because together, we can light the path to a future full of possibilities. Never give up. A letter from Sunrise to Grown UPS. Now that you know a little of my story, I want to ask you something, not as the adult I am today, but as the child I once was. Please look at the children in your life. Not at their grades. Not at their report cards. Look at their eyes when they struggle. Look at the way their shoulders drop when they feel like they are failing. That child who is staring at the page and not understanding, that was me. I am not asking you to have all the answers. I am asking you to stay. To sit beside us. To say, I see you. I believe in you. We will figure this out together. The tools in the next chapter are not just exercises, they are bridges. Bridges between the child who feels lost and the world that is waiting for them. Use them with love. Use them with patience. And when you use them, remember, behind every letter, there is a child who just wants to be seen. Sunrise Chapter 04 Didactic Resources. Imagine a world where words come to life and letters dance to the sound of your imagination. In this chapter, Sunrise will guide you along paths full of learning and discovery, where you will find magical tools that will open doors to a future full of possibilities. We will accompany parents on their journey, providing them with resources that will allow them to support their children with love and understanding. Educating and strengthening from the heart is the key to unleashing the hidden potential in every child. Supporting your child with dyslexia. How parents can make a difference. Dyslexia is a learning disorder that can present significant challenges for children in their educational journey. However, as a parent, you have a crucial role in supporting and guiding your child with dyslexia. Your love, patience, and understanding can make a tremendous difference in their confidence and academic success. 1. Educate yourself about dyslexia. The first and most important step is to educate yourself about dyslexia. Research and understand the symptoms, difficulties, and strengths associated with this disorder. The more you know, the better you can understand and assist your child. Stay updated on research and available resources. 2. Open communication and emotional support. Maintain open communication with your child. Encourage them to share their feelings, frustrations, and accomplishments with you. Listen attentively and provide emotional support at all times. Help them understand that dyslexia does not define their intelligence or self-worth. 3. Collaboration with the school. Work closely with teachers and school staff to ensure that your child's needs are being adequately addressed in the school environment. Participate in meetings, share relevant information about your child's dyslexia, and collaborate in developing an individualized education plan, IEP, tailored to their needs. 4. Building self-esteem and confidence. Assist your child in building a strong self-esteem and self-confidence. Emphasize their strengths and achievements in all areas of their life, not just academically. Encourage their interests and extracurricular activities to develop individual skills and talents. 5. Reading and writing support. Provide extra support in specific areas of difficulty, such as reading and writing. Read together with your child, select books and materials appropriate to their skill level, and practice reading aloud. Utilize available technological tools and resources, such as computer-assisted reading programs or spelling apps. 6. Establishing routines and organization. Help your child establish consistent study routines and habits. Provide a quiet and distraction-free study environment. Use calendars, task lists, and visual reminders to assist them in staying organized and effectively managing their time. The importance of psychoemotional support for children with dyslexia. In addition to academic support, children with dyslexia also require strong psychoemotional support to navigate the challenges they may face. Understanding and addressing their emotional well-being is crucial for their overall development and success. 1. Building emotional awareness. Help your child develop emotional awareness by encouraging them to recognize and express their feelings. Teach them appropriate ways to cope with frustration, stress, and anxiety. Validate their emotions and create a safe space for them to openly discuss their experiences and concerns. 2. Encouraging a growth mindset. Promote a growth mindset in your child by emphasizing that intelligence and abilities can be developed through effort and perseverance. Encourage them to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Foster a positive attitude toward learning and a belief in their own potential. 3. Providing a supportive environment. Create a supportive environment at home where your child feels valued, accepted, and understood. Celebrate their achievements, no matter how small, and provide encouragement during difficult times. Foster a sense of belonging and let them know that they are not alone in their journey. 4. Developing coping strategies. Teach your child coping strategies to manage stress and frustration. This can include deep breathing exercises, mindfulness techniques, or engaging in activities they enjoy to relieve tension. Help them identify their strengths and use them as tools for overcoming challenges. 5. Encouraging self-advocacy. Empower your child to advocate for themselves by teaching them how to communicate their needs effectively. Encourage them to ask for support when necessary, whether from teachers, peers, or other trusted individuals. Help them develop self-advocacy skills that will serve them well throughout their lives. 6. Seeking professional support. Consider involving professionals, such as psychologists or counselors, who specialize in working with children with learning differences. These professionals can provide additional guidance, support, and strategies for addressing your child's psychoemotional needs. Personal growth and resilience. Personal growth and resilience are important qualities that can help anyone, including children with dyslexia, to face challenges and achieve their goals and objectives in adulthood. 1. Foster self-esteem and confidence. Personal growth begins with a strong foundation of self-esteem and self-confidence. To help a child with dyslexia develop these qualities, it is important to recognize and praise their strengths and accomplishments. Celebrate every small milestone and help them understand that dyslexia does not define their worth as a person. Encourage them to set realistic goals and work towards them step by step. 2. Focus on individual strengths. Every child with dyslexia has their own unique strengths and talents. Help them discover and develop these areas of ability. It could be creativity, problem solving, art, sports, or other areas where they excel. Nurturing their interests and providing opportunities for exploration will strengthen their confidence and motivation. 3. Teach coping strategies. Resilience involves the ability to effectively cope with challenges. Help the child develop specific coping strategies for dyslexia. This may include adapted reading and writing techniques, the use of assistive technology, efficient time management, and establishing routines. Teach them to seek support when needed and not to be afraid of asking for help. 4. Foster a growth mindset. Promote a growth mindset in the child, helping them understand that effort and perseverance are key to achieving goals and objectives. Teach them that mistakes are learning opportunities and that progress may take time. Encourage them to face challenges with a positive attitude and to see them as opportunities to grow and improve. 5. Create a supportive environment. A supportive environment is crucial in helping a child with dyslexia develop resilience. Work in collaboration with teachers and educational professionals to ensure that necessary adaptations are implemented in the school environment. Foster open and honest communication at home. Seek support groups or online communities for children with dyslexia and their families. 6. Promote independence. As the child grows, it is important to foster their independence and autonomy. Encourage them to take age-appropriate responsibilities and make informed decisions. Provide opportunities for them to face challenges on their own, always backing them up and providing necessary support. 7. Set realistic and attainable goals. Help the child establish realistic and attainable goals in different areas of their life. This may include academic, personal, or skill development goals. Work together with the child to develop an action plan and celebrate achievements along the way. 8. Model resilience as an adult and a supportive figure. You are an important role model of resilience for the child. Display a positive attitude towards challenges, demonstrate perseverance, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. Share your own experiences of personal growth and how you have faced obstacles in your life. Guided exercises. Breathing exercise, the sunrise breath objective. Teach children a simple mindfulness technique to use when feeling overwhelmed. Instructions for the child: sit comfortably and close your eyes. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Imagine the sun rising. Hold your breath for 2 counts. Feel the warmth. Breathe out slowly for 6 counts. Let go of the worry. Repeat 3 times. Note for parents and teachers: this exercise can be used before reading activities, homework time, or any moment when the child seems anxious or frustrated. Parent-child conversation guide objective: open a genuine dialogue between parents and children about dyslexia and learning differences. Questions to ask your child: what part of school feels hardest for you right now? Is there one thing at school that makes you feel really good? When things are hard, what would help you the most? Is there anything you wish your teacher understood about you? Things to tell your child: dyslexia is not a flaw, it is a different way of seeing the world. I am proud of you for every effort, not just every result. You are never alone in this. My strengths. A reflection exercise. Take a moment, close your eyes and think about the things you are good at. Not just at school. In life. Maybe you run fast, or you make people laugh, or you notice things others miss, or you care deeply for the people around you. Now think of 3 of those things and say them out loud. Say them with confidence. Those are your strengths. Those are yours and no learning difficulty can ever take them away. For the adults listening, ask the child in your life to name their strengths today. Listen without interrupting. Celebrate what you hear. That simple act can change everything. Letter from the author to you, the reader. When I decided to tell this story, I was not sure the world was ready to hear it. I had carried it inside me for a long time, the confusion of childhood, the weight of feeling different, the slow, and sometimes painful journey toward understanding myself. Dyslexia is not a story about what is broken. It is a story about what is possible when someone chooses to look beyond the surface, beyond the grade, beyond the stumble, beyond the silence of a child who does not yet have the words to explain what they are experiencing. I have met many children like the one I once was. Children who are intelligent, creative, and full of potential, but who move through a world that was not entirely designed for the way their minds work. This book is for them. But it is also for the adults in their lives, the parents who stay up late searching for answers, the teachers who sense something but do not know how to name it, the caregivers who simply want to do the right thing. The right thing, I have learned, is not always complicated. Sometimes it is as simple as sitting down beside a child and saying, "I see you. Not your mistakes. Not your limitations. You." Sunrise Creative Hub was born from this belief. That creativity, art, communication, and education can come together to build bridges between children and learning, between struggle and strength, between who we are and who we are becoming. This book is one of those bridges. I hope it reaches the hands and hearts that need it most. Thank you for reading. Thank you for caring. And if you are a child reading this, know that your dawn is coming. It always does. With gratitude and hope, the author, Sunrise Creative Hub.